Today is day 6 of the government shutdown. As you know, it lasts for 8 days. I may be confusing that with Hanukkah. But so far, the effects of the shutdown keep getting worse.
Millions of Americans this morning feeling the pain, experiencing delays at airports. Food benefits to moms and young children could dry up in days. And national parks and monuments are partially closed.
I don't want to hardship shame anyone, but there is a significant gap between partially closed monuments and your children will starve. Old people will be forced to eat their pets. And the Department of Treasury thermostats will have to be kept at 66. Wear a sweater. I mean, really, who's taking a hit on the monument thing?
This tourist, David, all the way from Italy, saying Alcatraz was supposed to be the highlight of his visit to the Bay.
I feel not good, bad, because I come from Italy for say Alcatraz, all the attraction, and now we can't. Then it's not good, feeling not good.
Growing up in my country, I was a little boy, bambino. And I say to my friends, Maro, someday, I'm gonna travel. Not at the 3,000 miles, not at the 5,000 miles, over the 60,000 miles. To see one day a notorious prison turned into a museum. And when I get there, and I will get there. When I get to this notorious prison turned a museum on my father's life, I am going to buy a shot of glass. A shot of glass with... Mother, if this could happen, a shot of glass with the name of the prison. Frosted on the glass. And my friends, as a kid, they say to me, Enzo, this is a big plan. When this happens, maybe you should check the website. And maybe... You should make sure it's still open, huh? You happy, government? Look what you did. Look what you did to the poor fella. Yes, If liberals had their way, he'd be hosting the halftime show at the Super Bowl, yeah. Liberals, the poor guy from Italy. He just wants to, I just want to visit a museum. But if the fat cats in D.C. would just get out of their beltway bubble, they'd hear from real common sense Americans about how to end this troubling shutdown.
Lock them up in a room until they come to an agreement. Don't let them out.
I did not see that coming. Obviously, the shutdown is personal to Mr. Fester on disability, and his hand companion, a data analyst with the Department of Labor Management. Obviously, if the shutdown continues, he will be forced to return to giving hand jobs in truck stop bathrooms. Shame sex work. Do not shame sex work. He's going to have a tough enough time at the truck stop. Oh, Ed Handy. I guess that degree didn't work out so well, did it, college boy? Now stop snapping and start tugging. You know, the bathroom a hand job, I was really looking forward to it. Since the shutdown. Now, as you'll recall, the shutdown began because in order to pass a budget bill in the Senate, you need 60 votes, as the founders never mentioned. And so Democrats have come forth with a laundry list of demands to force the Republicans. I'm just kidding. They want like two things.
Democrats demanding that Republicans reverse cuts to Medicaid and extend expiring Obamacare subsidies to prevent insurance premiums from rising for some 20 million Americans.
Those bastards. It's like they don't even want people to die of generally preventable diseases. I wonder what this seemingly reasonable and narrow request will sound like when put through the Foxometer.
American taxpayers' hard-earned dollars would be paying for benefits for illegal aliens.
Extend policy that gives millions of illegal aliens free health care.
Health care for illegals, transgender surgery.
What? Did you just transgender surgery illegal immigrant health care? Just through transgender, transgender, it's not just a garnish you add to every talking point, like you're some transgender salt bay. Oh, are you talking about health care for illegals? Well, that needs a little trans surgery. And while people in the country legally are not eligible for Medicaid or for Obamacare subsidies, point taken. But the Democrats aren't lily-livered about this one. They've got their own rhetorical arguments about the popularity of extending these subsidies that I think you'll find compelling.
Democrats are adamant that we must protect the health care of the American people.
Good points. Not crazy about this. Solid framing, delivered with clarity. Really could have done without the whole Americans demand. It's just not. But if you would stop there, that would be great. But you're going to keep talking, aren't you? Aren't you?
New data came out today from KFF. And that is not Kentucky Fried French fries. KFF could be Kentucky French fries. Nah.
Hide your family.
I know. Orange.
Who is that joke even for? 6-year-olds that watch C-SPAN? What the are you doing? Chuck Schumer is a human flat tire. You just can't. Kentucky Fried French fries. I mean, look at Klobuchar. Poor Klobuchar. That is the face of someone who talked to their dad, who said, just please don't do your Indian accent in the restaurant. That's all I'm asking. But then dad was like, a chicken tikka masala. And he looks at her and he's like, I'm killing. But miracle of miracles, despite talking points being delivered by Hacky Mason here, Republicans are feeling pressured to defend their health care intentions. And House Speaker Mike Johnson is more than up to the task of reassuring America that to serve man is not a cookbook, but in fact a totally innocent double meaning.
Let me look right into the camera and tell you very clearly,
Republicans are the ones concerned about health care. Republicans are the party working around the clock every day to fix health care.
No, it's okay. That's not technically looking right into the camera. Technically, I'm doing that right now. I'm looking right into the camera right now. You saying, I'm going to look right at you, and then never looking at us, suggests a little struggling with the conscience and the truth. Your Honor, let me be clear. It was a consensual use of baby oil. No, I had to buy cases of it because it spoils. But you know, Republicans have always been very sincere about being the party of great health care.
We are going to be submitting in a couple of weeks a great health care plan that's going to take the place of the disaster known as Obamacare.
Boom! And while that was only 9 years ago, to be fair, when they promised to release their health care plan, they didn't realize how controversial it would be. Back then, he drew titties on everything. It seems like after 8 long months, the Democrats finally have themselves a specific ask, finally have themselves a small amount of leverage to accomplish this specific ask, and an ask that is somewhat popular with the American people, which means clearly this is a mistake. I call upon my colleagues in the Republican Party to explain why.
I think Mr. Schumer made a mistake. I think he marched his troops up into a box canyon.
I don't know what that means. Yes, is Charles Schumer shrewdly protecting healthcare premiums, or is he Custer at his last stand? Any whimsical folksy, but not massacre-y folksy?
Once you shut down government, you've got to figure out how to get it back open. A wise person once said, if you pray for rain, you got to be prepared to deal with the mud.
Touche! Who was that wise sage who said that? Confucius? A bard of the South, perhaps? Lear?
When you pray for rain, you got to deal with the mud, too.
Well done, sir. Throughout all these obscure colloquialisms, can the news media cut through what is exactly the concern if Democrats stand on principle?
Do you worry your fellow Democrats are walking into a trap?
Democrats just marched into a shutdown trap.
I think they walked into a trap.
Stepping into a trap.
Straight into a trap.
It's a trap.
I have to come clean about something. I added that last clip in there. And let me say this, and I mean this sincerely. Adding "it's a trap" is probably not fair to the media or to the larger discussion of our troubled healthcare system. But mostly, I believe adding that clip isn't fair to Admiral Akbar. Admiral Akbar served this galaxy with distinction. He does not deserve to have such a distinguished career reduced to one catchphrase or a flippant punchline. Ghial Akbar rose from the hardscrabble backwaters of Coral Depth City to lead the Mon Calamarians in rebellion against the Empire. A perilous and fraught journey where Akbar once had to escape capture during the Quarren insurgency to lead his forces to the decisive victory at the storied Battle of Jakku. A hero like that deserves to be remembered for his accomplishments, for his bravery, for his service, and for his sacrifice. And by the way, all of that information was brought to you by You're Never Getting Laid. Yes, you're never getting laid. If you recognized any of that shit that I just talked about, you're never getting laid. And if you think learning any of that information about Admiral Akbar will get you laid, it's a trap. Exactly. Today's episode is like 4 one-man shows. By the way, we didn't even define, what is the trap the Democrats have walked themselves into?
President Trump warning mass layoffs of federal workers are coming.
We'd be laying off a lot of people that are going to be very affected, and they're Democrats. They're going to be Democrats. A lot of good can come down from shutdowns. We can get rid of a lot of things that we didn't want, and they'd be Democrat things.
Trump writing, I can't believe the radical left Democrats gave me this unprecedented opportunity.
So the trap is, if the Democrats shut down the government, Donald Trump takes advantage of the situation and begins to, I don't know, trim programs Democrats care about. Or maybe Donald Trump might let go of some federal workers. Or Donald Trump might eliminate funding, but only for blue states. Or Donald Trump might send in the National Guard, but only into blue areas. In other words, to continue doing all the shit Trump has not needed any provocation or pretense or reason to already have been doing. Lo, these past, God, it feels like 80 years. And yet, somehow, the Republicans have the balls to continue to insist that the secondhand urine on our legs is rain.
It is a regrettable situation that the president does not want. Democrats are the ones who have decided to inflict the pain, not the president. The president takes no pleasure in this.
Bullshit! The president takes no pleasure in this. The president takes only pleasure. Given the president's vascular condition, this might be the only thing keeping him hard. I swear to you. His catchphrase was literally, "You're fired." His only reason for getting up in the morning is vengeance. Trump has been steamrolling over the Democrats and the law so consistently since day one of the presidency, the nation's pundits and legal experts are running out of ways to describe it.
The legality of this is very much unclear.
Some sort of legal gray area.
Extraordinarily shaky legal ground.
Not technically currently illegal.
There's a lot of questionable legality.
Considered by legal experts to be legally dubious.
While Trump is not technically violating the law, he is violating the spirits of our laws.
Word to the wise, especially those programming sometimes rather technical and dense discussions of legal issues. You're going to want to leave the donut B-roll on the floor. We're trying to listen to a lawyer, and the whole time I'm like, is he going to hit that mother? Look, man, 75 million Americans voted for a Democrat in this last round of presidential elections. And at this moment, they have zero power at the federal level. Not in the House, not in the Senate, not in the executive, and not in the courts. There has not been a moment of conciliation or concern about the issues and policies that drove those 75 million votes. Not a moment. At present, the Democrats' largest victory over these past 8 months is getting a guy who may or may not be a criminal back from El Salvador so Trump could send him to Uganda. That was the big win. And then suddenly, a small ask for people's preservation of health care is a Molotov cocktail. Because apparently Republicans won't be satisfied with 99.8% domination. They must have it all. ICE went from deporting the worst of the worst to throwing grandmothers onto linoleum and zip-tying American children. And everyone's just supposed to be cool with the new masked, incredibly well-funded paramilitary group. And Democrats are just reduced to petty gestures of restroom resistance.
Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem posted that she was blocked from entering a city building in Illinois.
Can we use the restroom? No, you cannot. We can? Please don't close the door. Please don't close the door.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Interesting. That's what Governor Pritzker says is cooperation in keeping people safe.
Victory is ours! Look, I've given Democrats an enormous amount of shit for their poor leadership. Lack of specific and actionable plans, terrible messaging, abysmal wordplay. Did I mention poor leadership? But standing up for 75 million Americans in this moment to defend the rights of people to go into a little less medical debt seems like the least they can f***ing do. And perhaps, maybe that will remind the Republicans that their mandate wasn't 100%. They've just caught a constitutional, administrative, and logistics break. Because if this continues, as a wise man once said,
so the crash on now weekend, then it's not good, feeling not good.
It's a feeling and not a good.
Yesterday, Trump was in the Oval Office to announce the construction of a big road in Alaska. Congrats, Alaska. You finally got a road. And if we know one thing about Trump, it's that he likes to keep his press conferences focused and on topic. So let's hear what he has to say about this cool road.
I want to be good because you want to prove to God that you're good, so you go to that next step, right? So that's very important to me.
Trump, are you sick? I mean, aside from all the visible signs that your body is falling apart, are you sick or something? Like, we should take a second here, because this is the first time I've seen Trump be humble about anything. Like, normally he'd be like, heaven's begging me to come. I'm only staying alive to play hard to get. Jesus came up to me with tears in his eyes and he said, please, sir, come fix heaven. It's a total dump. It's like he just realized he only has immunity here on Earth. And this isn't a one-off. Trump's been talking about this heaven thing a lot lately.
If you're not a believer and you believe you go nowhere, what's the reason to be good, really? There has to be some kind of a report card up there someplace, you know, like, let's go to heaven, let's get into heaven. I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole.
Oh man, this is such a bleak and completely accurate view of his chances in heaven. I will say, though, you never want to see the guy who's supposed to keep you healthy and safe talk about dying. Like, he's supposed to be leading you. You never want to hear a pilot over the system be like, oh, I just can't wait to get into heaven. Like, can we get to Pittsburgh first? And look, I don't know, man. Heaven is tough to get into. Like, I don't want to throw cold water on your hopes and dreams, but you might want to think about trying to get into, like, a safety heaven. Like, whatever SUNY Albany of heaven is up there. You know what I mean? Like, apply there, you know? Because the truth is, there's probably a good reason for Trump to worry about getting into heaven, you know? Is it? Yep. That too. I mean, that wasn't even the first thing I thought of. Crazy how many things there are. So it makes sense that Trump is worried, especially since he's not going to have people like Attorney General Pam Bondi at the pearly gates, because she's been devoting every second getting him out of trouble here on Earth. They spent all summer trying to hide any mention of Trump in the Epstein files. And when Bondi was asked about that today, she basically told senators, you can go to hell.
So who gave the order to flag records related to President Trump?
To flag records for President Trump?
To flag any records which included his name.
I'm not going to discuss anything about that with you, Senator.
What a tone. You know you're caught when you have to repeat what you were being accused of back to the person. Like, just so you have time to think, like, who's been texting me? Who's been texting me all night? You want to see my text messages? You want to see text messages? Like, a man can't even type anymore. This used to be a free country. You know, it's like, fine, look, see, you'll see I've never gotten a text message in my life. And while Pam Bondi is stonewalling the Senate, Mike Johnson is shutting the whole House down. That way, no one can vote on releasing the Epstein files. And of all people running interference for the Epstein files, it's Mike Johnson. You think someone who looks like an 11-year-old boy would care about pedophilia, all right? You know, because he might get caught in the crossfire. If you're someone who still has to say, put me down, I'm a grown man, then you should be fighting to release the Epstein files. With all these guys running defense for Trump, all he has to do is act cool. You know, if you get a question, don't freak out, and then just act natural.
The Supreme Court is back in session. They rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance at getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're open to doing?
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
You know, I haven't heard the name in so long.
I said act natural. I haven't heard the name in so long. She's not asking you about the Baha Men. You're over here being like, who? And look, maybe I'm not being fair. You know, how long has it been since you last heard her name? Years?
Did you personally approve the prison transfer for Ghislaine Maxwell that your Justice Department...
I didn't know about it at all, no. I read about it just like you did. Pardon for who?
For Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, I'm allowed to give her a pardon.
Would you consider a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell if
It's something I haven't thought about.
Do you support the Justice Department seeking a new interview with Ghislaine Maxwell?
I don't know anything about it. They're going to what? Meet her?
That was all summer long. People say 2025 didn't have a summer song of the year, but no. The song of the summer was the reporters asking Donald Trump about Ghislaine Maxwell. If it was eligible, it would have been #1 on Billboard. But okay. Take a breath. First thing, wasn't great. You can fix it. All right? They ask you if you're going to pardon her. You barely remember her, right? You don't know her, and you're trying to get into heaven, buddy. Remember? That's the play. That's the journey you're on. You're trying to get into heaven, and you don't even really know this lady, so you're obviously not even going to consider pardoning her.
Well, I'll take a look at it.
But you're considering that.
I will speak to the DOJ. I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it. So
Why would she be a candidate?
I will speak to the DOJ.
Why would she be? But she was convicted of child sex trafficking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to take a look at it.
Hey, man. Hey. Maybe when you hear the words child sex trafficking, the next thing you say shouldn't be, I'm going to look at it. All right? The only way to phrase that worse is, now I gotta see this. But okay, all right. None of that went well. None of that was ideal. But you can do what you do best and throw a distraction in there. Change the topic away from pardoning sex criminals.
I have a lot of people who have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
Wait, so you don't remember Ghislaine, but you remember that we used to call Diddy Puff Daddy. That was 9 names ago. He put brother in it at one point. All you had to do was mention someone else who was not convicted of sex crimes, which is most people. And you chose Diddy. And I want to remind everyone, we were gathered here to talk about a road in Alaska. I know the government is technically shut down, but that doesn't mean everything is shut down. Rest assured, friends, our politicians are still working hard to make sure the important stuff is getting done.
The Trump administration has ordered FBI employees to search for papers or digital records related to the disappearance of famed pilot Amelia Earhart.
Hell yeah. Trump heard we wanted to see the secret files about the famous person with a private plane who suffered a mysterious death, and he was like, Amelia Earhart, got it. Do we really need to see the Amelia Earhart files? Like, we know what happened to her. You know? Like, people looked for her. I mean, not hard, but like, but that's just because you couldn't back then. All you could do is stand at the shore and scream, Amelia! Nothing. Okay. So that's exciting news for someone. Probably. But unfortunately for the rest of us, the shutdown is affecting the planes that aren't missing.
This morning, growing gridlock for travelers across the country as the government shutdown hits air travel hard. The FAA warning of staff shortages at least 8 major locations, threatening delays and cancellations in Las Vegas, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, Boston, Newark, Atlanta, and Nashville.
Oh, damn. So many great American cities and Vegas. But yeah, all across the country, there's delays, shortages, and cancellations. The only people that could possibly be excited about this is Spirit Airlines. They're sitting at the airport like, you were all talking shit. For years, you had jokes. We're all Spirit now. I bet they're all at the airport doing their best Bane impressions, like, I was born in the cancellations. Molded by them. I didn't see a flight until I was already a man. But basically what's happening is the TSA agents and air traffic controllers still have to show up to work during a shutdown, even though they're not getting paid. So a lot of them are saying, if I'm not getting paid, I'm going to call out sick, which is understandable. TSA have a hard job. You're going to run your hands up some guy's butt crack and not get paid? So things are getting a little hairy in the skies, but don't worry. Because we've got Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, former Real World cast member and somehow most qualified cabinet member. And he is on the case.
I'm here at Newark Airport about to go up into the tower and talk to some of our air traffic controllers.
Okay, cool video. I like that you used the music from a barbecue sauce ad, all right? But surely you aren't going to go up there into the tower and bother the air traffic controllers while they're working.
How does the shutdown impact controllers in towers like this, not just in Newark, but around the country?
I think the biggest thing is, it's just a distraction that we don't need.
Yeah. If there's one thing I don't need in a job like this, it's a distraction. The only thing more distracting than a shutdown would be if my boss showed up with a camera crew and made me do an interview facing away from the windows while I'm trying to land planes. But anyway, I interrupted you. Sean Duffy, you were trying to give these air traffic controllers a morale boost.
I have a wife that doesn't work, 2 kids at home. If I don't get a paycheck here in a couple of weeks, I still have to provide for them. So it's not something that I want to have to be thinking about.
Mortgage, car payments, utility bills, food, all issues.
I'm a working guy just like you are.
Not helping, all right? Damn, Duffy, he knows what bills he has to pay. You don't need to make a whole Destiny's Child song about it. He's up there like, you got your mortgage, your car payment, your roof needs to be replaced. Man, I'd be stressed if I was you. Plus, your wife is home alone all day. You don't know who she's banging. But you know what? Whether it's a distraction or not, I'm glad Sean Duffy is talking to them about their problems. It's a quick and direct response that shows no matter what happens, President Trump is not going to let this shutdown stop him from showing how much he cares about the health and well-being of the federal workers.
President Trump has already threatened to fire federal workers, and now the White House is floating a new threat, suggesting that some of the 750,000 federal workers might not get back pay.
Damn, Donald. You're going to furlough these workers and then take away their back pay? If I were them, I'm stealing way more than normal. You know what I mean? When I get back, I'm coming to work with a screwdriver. Forget the toilet paper, I'm taking the whole toilet. What else can you even do to these people?
For the most part, we're going to take care of our people. There are some people that really don't deserve to be taken care of, and we'll take care of them in a different way.
I guess kill them? He's not very good at delivering threats. Like, I'll take care of them in a different way could mean anything from murder to giving them a happy ending. But here's the thing, Donald. Are you sure you want to be piling more stress on air traffic controllers? Because they were already air traffic controllers. That job is like juggling and playing Russian roulette at the same time. I don't think they can handle not getting back pay. And if the air traffic control system falls apart, this is bad for you. Because if you can't fly anymore, that Qatari jet you got is just going to be sitting on the White House lawn like a white trash Winnebago. Let's get right into the biggest story in the world. This is one of those sentences that you almost never hear, but there's good news coming out of the Middle East.
Major breakthrough in the Middle East. President Trump was the first to announce that Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of a deal that could lead to the end of the war in Gaza.
This is more than Gaza. This is peace in the Middle East, and it's an incredible thing.
Over in Gaza, Palestinian men and boys ran into the streets, clapping and cheering. In Israel, a similar scene of joy.
That's right. A peace deal has been reached between Israel and Hamas, and it's based on the framework Donald Trump proposed, which means another thing you almost never hear, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I gotta give Donald Trump some props here, you know? It doesn't happen a lot. In fact, I can only think of this, the COVID vaccine, and Home Alone 2. You know? Don't get me wrong, this is astonishing because if this peace holds, it means the guy who couldn't stop a fight between Gary Busey and Meatloaf brokered peace in the Middle East. So Trump, when it comes to peace, you did it. You know, I mean, you also did a big portion of the war, but you did the peace too. It's like how white people did slavery in America, but they also ended slavery in America. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you. Either way, this is a reason to celebrate. And look, if this deal holds, maybe we should give Trump the Nobel Peace Prize? Or, and you won't like this either, we let him burn the Epstein files. He only gets one, but he gets to pick, all right? Now, maybe you're wondering how the world found out about this peace deal. Was it a grand announcement like the Treaty of Versailles? Or like the end of World War II, where nurses and soldiers met up in Times Square just to make out? No. This is Trump's America, so it was much stupider.
At the White House yesterday, the president interrupted by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, seen handing him a note and then whispering in Trump's ear. Photographers catching the handwritten message. We need you to approve a Truth Social post soon so you can announce deal first.
Wait, they plan his Truth Social posts? So when I see one all misspelled and half in caps at 3 a.m, that was the plan? It's like scheduling that you're going to shit your pants. But you know what? If he can resolve the conflict in the Middle East, maybe he truly is the president of peace. Maybe some of that peace and tranquility is going to come back to us.
President Trump sending National Guard troops into American cities. Trump is insisting that troops are needed in cities like Chicago, Memphis, and Portland.
We have an Insurrection Act for a reason.
Damn! This feels like he made peace abroad just so he could bring everybody back to whoop ass here. I mean, a president hasn't invoked the Insurrection Act since the LA riots, which for Trump is actually a surprisingly recent precedent. Usually he's invoking something that hasn't been used in 300 years, like the anti-witch you can toss a bitch off a cliff act of 1692. But what's happening in Portland that requires Trump to send troops in? Well, Trump held a big meeting yesterday to explain why.
It should be clear to all Americans that we have a very serious left-wing terror threat in our country. Radicals associated with the domestic terror group Antifa.
Antifa? That's who you're declaring a domestic terrorist organization. That's tricky because while there are people who identify as Antifa, it isn't really an official group. They don't even have a website. Like, my cousin's baby has its own website, and that's an ugly baby. Its voice changed in the womb. All right? You put your ear to his mom's stomach and you just heard, "I'm coming." So, no website, no brick and mortar store. So if you're sending troops to Portland, how sophisticated could Antifa be?
This network of Antifa is just as sophisticated as MS-13, as TDA, as ISIS, as Hezbollah, as Hamas, as all of them.
Wait, what? And they're here? She made Antifa feel like the Power Rangers of terrorism. They got some of everybody. They got MS-13, ISIS, they got letters, numbers, Hezbollah, Hamas. I don't know what TDA is, but they got some of that too. Okay, Kristi Noem, you're Homeland Security. You gotta get out there to Portland and take care of business.
Kristi Noem went on the roof of the ICE building to survey the scene.
Okay, that doesn't look that scary, but you have to remember how scary it is for her to encounter a farm animal when she's unarmed. Okay? But you know these cities, they look innocent during the day. I bet you that was just the Antifa that doesn't have jobs, all right? At night, that must be when Antifa comes out to do all the nasty terrorism. Let's look at Portland at night this week. All right, fear is a powerful drug, but so is MDMA. Listen, Trump, I'm trying to be an ally, but right now, I don't really see dangerous criminals. I just see virgins, all right? And I'm not sure we need the military for that, because everything that they claim is happening in Portland, it's all happening on one city block in front of one ICE building. The rest of the city is completely normal. I mean, it's still Portland, so it's normal, but it's like Portland normal. You know what I mean? Like there will be a naked guy with a handlebar mustache riding a unicycle down the street, but that's supposed to be happening. All right. So far, all I've seen is a guy in a chicken suit and an episode of Barney. All right. But maybe there's something I'm missing.
The amazing thing is you look at Portland and you see fires all over the place. It's like the movies where you have these bombed out cities. I don't know what could be worse than Portland. You don't even have sewers anymore.
There are no stores in Portland? You're telling me if I type stores in Portland into Google Maps, it'll just be like, nah, this is one of those store cities. Nah, we're not doing that nasty stuff over here, okay? Also, not having stores isn't exactly the worst thing about a war zone. No one was looking at Hiroshima like the devastation was incredible. Not a single Bob's Discount furniture left standing. But here's the thing, Trump. I don't think the situation in Portland is a 5-alarm, DEFCON 1, bust out the windows type of emergency. And I don't think you think that either. Because this whole meeting where you're talking about how dangerous Antifa is, you all look bored as hell. Trump is falling asleep. Pam Bondi got to tilt her neck up to stay awake, you know? Stephen Miller is yawning. The most radical person in the cabinet looked like he drained, you know? He looks like he's sitting at a piano recital after his kid finished. Also, you would think that if we're all about to die, Antifa would be the only network on your mind.
ABC is terrible. NBC is terrible. MSNBC is dying, and CNN is dying like a dog. MSNBC is sick. Yeah. They're sick. I would say CNN is not quite as bad as MS. Poor CNN. They're so pathetic. Beautiful black women are wearing a MAGA hat last night on television.
Come on, guys, all right? The plan is to scare people about Antifa. You're not going to do that if you keep trailing off about hot black women you remember, all right? So look, I'm not saying that there's no such thing as Antifa, but I look at Antifa the way I look at Bigfoot. It's big, scary, and tearing up the Pacific Northwest. But all we ever hear about is what the people who believe in it think is happening.